we're here to just talk sports, help everybody keep up what's going on currently in the sports world, and especially with football playoffs being so right on top of us, and the college football playoffs. So we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to get the input of two different perspectives, and I think it's going to go well. So going into college, we'll start with, since college is, what do we got? A couple games coming up Friday. Ole Miss, Georgia, what do we got? Those aren't until January 1st.
Yeah, New Year's, the 31st, I believe we have Texas Tech and Oregon.
That's right, yeah. And then the rest is January 1st. So I guess we'll go back to talking about what happened this past week in the NFL. I think a lot of surprises. I think Jacksonville was an amazing surprise going into Denver. Denver hasn't lost since October. To turn around and go into Denver and win handily. I mean,
huge win.
Yeah.
Especially with Denver having top 3 defense in the NFL. I was very surprised that Jacksonville played that good.
Yeah,
especially,
me too.
It was a pretty impressive win.
Yeah, Lawrence looks like a different guy. I mean, he's the guy. That's the guy that everybody thought they were getting when they talked about the number 1 pick. And he was the next coming of the Messiah. Next thing you know, they were talking about trading him, cutting bait, and everything. Now, I'm glad for him. He's a good, he's a good kid. And there was a lot on his shoulders, and the organization was never always perfect. So.
Yeah, especially coming out of Clemson, expectations were through the roof. Coming off of a national championship and then another appearance against Joe Burrow in the 2019 national championship game, people thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be the next John Elway. So his first 5-6 years have not looked that great, but yeah, he's totally rejuvenated his career. He looks great. He looks really good.
And you know how it works. I mean, the reality is in football, it's all in the trenches. I don't care what anybody says. You can have these great superstars, Jamar Chases, and the great wide receivers, Justin Jefferson. But if your offensive line can't block, and if your defensive line can't get penetration, it's all in the trenches, in my opinion. And the offensive line, that's what I think is helping Jacksonville. Is ATN is having some year.
Yes,
I mean,
agree 100%, and you could just see the difference. Jacksonville, healthy offensive line. Look at Detroit Lions; their offensive line is depleted right now.
Right.
I think they have 3 of their starters that are on injured reserve right now, and you can tell.
Yeah, and that's a team with an amazing running attack with Gibbs and Montgomery.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then not being able to do that, Lee puts a lot on Goff, and not only that, Detroit's defense. Well, I mean, if you're looking at disappointing teams, I think Detroit, but Baltimore was the most disappointing. Going into this year.
Yeah, I think Detroit would probably be one of the most disappointing teams this year, especially the defense. I think defense is ranked 23rd in the NFL. They can stop the run, for the most part, right, but their pass, it's ridiculous.
Losing to the Steelers this past week, that's a tough loss. That was a loss they weren't expecting in Detroit. No way that should have happened.
No,
and that was a tough loss because I didn't think Pittsburgh had what it was going to take to win that. So
but me neither. I think Detroit I think they see the writing on the wall. I don't think I realistically have a shot at going to the playoffs now. I mean, they would have to have a lot of help. They would have to have Green Bay implode, which, I mean, mathematically they could get in, but I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't either. And speaking of Green Bay, a good game, against the Bears, which is always a good game. But I mean, with Love going down, with concussion protocol, they don't know what that's going to look like. And then, losing Micah Parsons last week,
huge,
massive loss.
I think it takes Green Bay from one of the top NFC contenders to borderline wild card team now.
I agree.
That's huge.
I agree.
I don't see Green Bay. I don't see them recovering from that.
No, me neither. And you can go. We'll stay in that division with Chicago. I mean,
wow.
Offensively, again, there goes to a team winning in the trenches. They've got one of the top running games, which is by committee.
Yeah.
With Swift and, but I mean, and then Caleb Williams is having. I mean, he
looks for real.
Yeah.
He looks great. And I know I'm probably going on a limb here, but he looks like a top 5 to 10 quarterback right now. He's playing
agree.
lights out.
I agree.
I'll tell you what, Ben Johnson, all the talk, him leaving Detroit, they said, maybe Detroit wouldn't feel it that much. I tell you what, it's hurting them right now, losing Ben Johnson.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they went from an offensive coordinator, now Dan Campbell, of all people. I mean, I know Dan Campbell has had an offensive career with Peyton and everything else, but I never saw him with the card in his hand. I never remember him being an offensive coordinator.
Me neither. They look out of sort. There's something missing.
Yeah.
I just remember the last 2022, 23, 24. I feel like they were top of the NFL. They looked phenomenal offensively. Right. All the gadget plays. They had a balanced attack, rushing, passing. Their defense was still not the greatest, but about anywhere from 15th to 20th in the league. And this year, defense is not holding up as good. I know they lost a couple of their starting safeties, but the offense just doesn't seem to click.
It's their back end defensively that's killing them, the safeties and corners. But because, I think Aiden Hutchinson, he is so fun to watch. I mean, that guy's motor, his motor is unbelievable. That pick, and, but one man just can't run, cannot control the entire defense, because if you look at the second level and the linebackers, a couple of no names, but adequate, but that, again, not going to take them to the next level. I don't think they're not in the conversation.
No, I don't think so either. I as much as I want to see Detroit make the playoffs, how exciting that would be, I think there's a lot of things they have to fix defensively.
You have Michigan roots, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I was born in Michigan, born and raised. I'm a big Michigan fan, Detroit Lions fan also.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good, listen, man, it's been, I'm disappointed. I don't think their window closed, but I think that there's, this year they're going to have to, chalk it up, because I don't think it's this year.
Yeah, me neither.
And the Bears, like I said, we were going back to the Bears running attack and their and Caleb Williams with his arm talent, and they, again, offensively, they've got a lot of talent.
Yeah, they do. Chicago is. I figured they would be better this year. I had no clue they would be. What are they sitting at right now? 11-4.
11-4.
It could possibly be the number one overall seed in the NFC.
Can you imagine that? I mean, who would have thought?
Nobody.
Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. Ben Johnson. And if you look at when they come to in their formations, their movements. I mean, I coached football, so. You kind of watch, but a lot of misdirection. He's got a lot of misdirection. Yeah. Things flow, and then they're going back the other way, so a lot of counters. But I miss that in Detroit. It's almost like watching Detroit for the past 3 years, and wow, what a special coach they have. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Johnson was Coach of the Year. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, another guy in the conversation. Vrabel's going to be in the conversation.
Yeah, can't forget about him.
Oh boy. New England's had an amazing. Sorry, but we're gonna have to edit that. But Vrabel's, is another guy up for Coach of the Year. But I mean, the NFC West, I think, is the conversation right now.
Wow, the NFC West is incredible. You have Seattle at 12-3, number one seed overall. The second team in the NFC West is the Los Angeles Rams at 11-4. 11-4. So that Seattle game, that Seattle Los Angeles Rams game
on Thursday.
That was huge. So what that did for Seattle, that took Seattle from second place in the NFC West at a 6th seed in the playoffs, first round, which they're going to actually play on the road. That took them from the 6th seed all the way to the number one seed, first round bye, sitting at home for the first round. That's huge.
And possible home field advantage, which
throughout
we all
the
know
whole
Seattle, that's home field advantage exists. That's real when it comes to that. The
12th
man really exists.
With the decimals up in the 120 range, it's a tough place to play, man.
Yeah. The weather will be there. It's an outdoor stadium, so I mean, your warm weather teams are not going to enjoy going in there. Like, and let's not forget San Francisco. San Francisco last night. The Colts are on a reeling, after an 8-2 start. Do you know that only 3 8-2 teams that started out 8-2 to not make the playoffs is, I think there's 1 or 3 teams that ever happened to, and the last time it happened was 30 years ago. So
I heard that, like the Raiders, I believe, or something. Yeah, I did see that
8-2 start, and then you're fighting for playoffs, which is scary. But San Francisco looked good. McCaffrey is back to being Christian McCaffrey. Knock on wood, he won't have any injuries, because Lord knows that guy, he battles the injury bug. But they've got Robinson from Washington, from the Commanders, who I think has been a nice spell for McCaffrey, and then Kittle.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, they looked last night. San Francisco, I think, reminded everybody that was watching, like, hey, we're still here.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about the Rams, everyone's talking about the Seahawks, but hey, we're still here.
Yeah.
And Shanahan, he has brought them to the Super Bowl with, I believe, 2 different quarterbacks. I think Brock Purdy went to one, and I believe, oh God, who's the quarterback that was Jimmy Garoppolo. He took him to the Super Bowl a few years back. So,
yeah.
I mean, people forget Kyle Shanahan is one of the most elite coaches in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
And they have a lot of weapons. So.
And I think with him and John Lynch, they've done a tremendous job.
Awesome job.
GM, head coach relationships are, important. As we all know, I mean, listen, man, I'm a Jet fan. You want to talk about miserable? My life is miserable.
You know what? If there's any,
feel for me?
I do feel for you. I did see last night. I heard a stat last night that the New York teams were combined 5-25. I will say this on the bright side, though. I feel like Jackson Dart is the future. I feel like he has all the tools to be successful. And Cam Scatterbo. Wow, I really like Cam Scatterbo as a running back. I think he's going to be.
Oh yeah, no, I think he's. I think you're right, Scatterbo. As long as he stays away from the WWE. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
In the walking boot, he's over there throwing haymakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but New York football is a disaster. But Lynch and Shanahan have done it. They've done it well for. I think 10 years already, 12 years. That's crazy.
Wow.
I didn't realize it was that long. That's what time flies. But, Robert Saleh leaving the Jets, perfect example of the Jet organization. You get rid of a guy who I felt needed more time. He goes back to San Francisco. Shanahan makes him the defensive coordinator again, and they're playing well. I mean, even after losing Warner, which is a huge loss.
Huge loss, yeah.
They bring in Hendricks from Minnesota. Guy's like 40 years old. Took him. And again, they're sustainable. Their defense is decent.
What's incredible is, I know you stated, like, Warner got hurt for the year. Just imagine how good they're playing right now, and they got some of their franchise, like,
Nick
cornerstone,
Bosa.
out for the year. And if they had these guys healthy, and they're still sitting at 11-4 right now. Unbelievable coaching job right now. But hats off to San Francisco this year, man. They're doing a fantastic job right now, kind of navigating through all the injuries right now.
Yeah, and we all know the injuries happen. I mean, it's inevitable. To lose your big players, going to Green Bay again, talking about that, but I mean, that's a nightmare. Kansas City, losing Mahomes, and you see these great superstars going down with ACLs or Achilles, or all these injuries. It's sad, but changing of the guard. I mean, this is open this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody can win it.
Absolutely, wide open. I'm not used to seeing the Bears in the 2 spot right now. Carolina, I think, surprised everyone this year. Bryce Young, he rejuvenated his career. Everyone was ready to throw the towel in on him, saying, what a bust. Too small. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11", maybe 185 pounds.
That's the thing is, I remember when his first play is in an exhibition game against the Jets, Quinnen Williams, at the time, the Jet super tackle, he grabbed him and he brought him down. It literally looked like a big giant grizzly bear shaking it was unbelievable. I'm looking at this little body going flying. I'm like, oh my God, this poor guy is never going to make it.
Looked like a high school kid out there.
That's exactly what he looked like, a high school kid in the NFL, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But now they got Dowdell, and again, here we go talking about in the trenches. Carolina moves the football
absolutely
on the ground, which opens up that play action and that
they're running the ball great, and defense is playing good. And I'll tell you what, I think that game that they just won against Tampa Bay, I feel like that solidified their season.
I agree because Tampa Bay offensively, Tampa Bay is stacked.
Yeah,
I mean Godwin and Bucky Irving,
Emeka
Emeka Egbuka, Mike Evans.
Come on.
I mean offensively, and Baker Mayfield. I mean he's a listen. I love Baker. I mean,
me too.
If you don't love Baker Mayfield, gritty, the guy who's going to lower his shoulder, he's going to go and get you that yard you need. So it was real surprising to me. And the other surprise was, if you remember the reaction Todd Bowles had after the loss, that they should have never lost.
Yeah.
And he had the F-bombs flying. So not him.
Yeah, out of character. Yeah.
Way out of character. Yeah. But that's where you knew his frustration. And Tampa Bay can't stop a thing. Defensively, one of the worst teams, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah, I was actually looking. I actually didn't realize how bad defensively Tampa Bay is this year. And yeah, it just seems like every time they answer, it seems like they're offensively. They answer offensively. It seems like their defense just collapses. It doesn't. They're having a hard. They're struggling right now, and. I don't want to sit there and say Tampa Bay, this is a lost season, but it kind of is. I mean,
well, they started out 6-1 or something crazy. They had won 3 games and come from behind. I mean, it was everything was there. And then the injury, and then I figured, okay, they're gonna. It was so funny. A friend of mine and I were talking about at the beginning of the year. They were talking about Tampa Bay. If in Vegas, it was some heavy stat was would they win over or under 9 games? I'm like, man, that's a home run, easy bet.
Sure,
they're going to win over 9 games.
Yep.
Then they started out like that, and now they're struggling. I don't know if they'll win 9.
Yeah, you know what? Looking at they're 7-8 right now. Let's see.
I got Carolina last week again.
Okay, they got Carolina.
Is the last game? Yeah,
Yeah, they got Carolina, and then they got Miami this weekend, and then they got Carolina.
Yeah, and Miami. Let's face that. What do you think they're going to do? I think Tua.
Yeah,
the Tua thing is over.
I believe so. I think it's safe to say at this point of his career, and some people might criticize me for saying this, but I would say I think Tua is officially a bust right now in the NFL. Especially, I just kind of scratch my head and just wonder. What were they thinking? They gave him $252 million.
$50 million a year.
That's
one
insane.
of the highest paid players in the NFL, and I have never been to or through one passing college. The one that where he came in the second half, brought them back. They won the national championship on that bomb
against Georgia in 2017. Yeah.
So that was like that Tua, and then he dislocates his hip. That's a horrific injury. Nobody comes back from that. Then the concussions. I mean, I never felt he was that number 1 pick. I mean, they picked him over Herbert, over Justin Herbert.
That's crazy. Yeah, they did.
And you watch that guy. To me, Herbert's one of the top. I mean, and let's talk about that. Tua is over. The concussions, everything. I think you're right. Done. Bust. But let's go with that now. Talk about San Diego. Diego.
The Chargers looked phenomenal. I'll tell you what. I got 3 teams on the top. I got the Seattle Seahawks. I got the Chargers, and I got the Los Angeles Rams. That I believe are 3 of the most well balanced teams. And call me crazy, but I think if the Rams played the Chargers in the Super Bowl, it wouldn't be that surprising to me.
Can you imagine that? Yeah,
it would be an all LA Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's so funny because I was watching this morning the San Francisco Giants, Oakland A's World Series when the
oh wow.
The
earthquake.
Yeah. So the Battle of the Bay, and here we are going to have the Battle of LA.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and Harbaugh. Let's face it. Jim Harbaugh is a heck of a coach. I mean,
phenomenal coach.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I mean, they could say what they want about his time in Michigan. They won a national championship.
Yes, they did.
And Ryan Day. Oh yeah. That's right. You're the Michigan guy, so that was a good thing. He's a great coach. He won at Stanford. Then he came to San Francisco, won there.
Took him to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then comes back and goes to Michigan.
Went to Michigan.
The national championship.
Went to Michigan. I know he struggled. He got there in 2015. First year won 10 games in 2016. A couple years, and then everyone kept saying,
Ohio State.
The Ohio State. When's he going to be Ohio State? COVID season hit. The game got canceled against Ohio State, and then 2021 happened. He revamped. He took a salary cut. He comes back in 21. They beat Ohio State for the first time in, I believe, 8 years.
Yeah.
Then they win the Big Ten title. They lose in playoffs to Georgia, and then 2022 they come back. They lose to TCU. Then 23 they win the whole thing. That he goes to so everywhere Harbaugh's been, it's been great defense, top 5 defense, whether nationally in the NCAA or in the NFL, and now he's at the Chargers. He's got a dynamic quarterback, Justin Herbert, franchise quarterback. They have a great run game, and they play.
Omari and Hampton's turned out. I mean, if he stays healthy, Hampton's a tough. He's a big load. He's a load.
He's a great running back, and I think they took him out of North Carolina in the first round.
Yep.
And I think you look at his size. He's about 5'9", 5'10", about 220.
He's solid.
He's a tough runner,
And with all, they got Alt at the, they took a major blow this year too, losing their starting right tackle.
That's right.
In the first game of the season, they lost him ACL for the year.
That's right.
So they're doing it with a patch up on that side. But Alt came back. He's a stud. I mean, let's face it. He was a number one pick.
I'll tell you what. I wouldn't want to play the Chargers in the playoffs.
No, me neither.
Absolutely not.
And I think the only place that they're weak, and the shame of it is because this is for the third year in a row, is at wide receiver. I mean, you're going into the archives when you bring in what's his name, their wide receiver that's been there. He left, came back. You know who I'm talking.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. The thing is with
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Yeah, Keenan Allen left. He comes back. And, a lot of people don't want to give the credit that but I'll tell you what, he's making third downs become like it's routine. He's a third down machine right now.
It's unbelievable, because and again, there was another guy that was written off. San Diego takes him back because of like nostalgia.
Yeah.
And let him finish his career there because he had a successful long career in San Diego. And well, I'm sorry, now it's the LA Chargers, but I think the organization, I think it was a smart move because he's turned out to be a third down machine. And they've got some rookies, some younger guys on the outside that are doing it. And Ladd McConkey, talk about a great slot. He's another one of them Wes Welker, Danny Amendola kind of receivers
out of Georgia. He's playing fantastic. He's great pickup.
Gets open. He's one of them guys. He gets open like a Nakua. Throw the ball. Well, nobody's like Nakua. Nakua is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's having a monster year.
And man, his yak is what's amazing.
Yeah,
when he catches the ball. He's an angry dude.
Yeah,
that Samoan mentality. It's like Troy Polamalu playing wide receiver.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at the Chargers' schedule coming up. I believe the Chargers will make the playoffs, but boy, they don't have an easy road right now. Their next game is going to be against the Houston Texans, who has the number one defense in the NFL right now. And then the next game to finish the year, they play the Denver Broncos,
which could be. If that, depending on what happens this week, that could be for the first place in the West.
It could well be, because right now all those teams are bunched up at either 12-3, 11-4. So it's exciting. The last 2 weeks of the NFL season is going to be super exciting. Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, me too.
Hey Tom, I did want to talk a little bit about the college playoffs.
Yeah, we got time. Let's talk college, because I think it's I love the playoff format. There's no question about it. I think they made a mistake. That's just my opinion on the Tulane James Madison.
Yeah, I do too, and I get it. I understand the rules. You have to get one of the Power 5 teams has to get in, but let's be honest. When they went to the 12 teams, we want to see the 12 best teams.
Yeah,
right.
And Notre Dame is in that conversation.
Absolutely. If you cannot sit there and tell me that a Tulane or a James Madison is a better football team than a Notre Dame, you know what?
BYU.
Even BYU. So, let's face, like, this is the playoffs right now, and what I don't want to see Ole Miss dominate and completely destroy Tulane. We've already seen that in the regular season.
Yeah, that's right.
They scheduled them as the first game of the year because it is a warm-up game, and you can't really present that as a playoff game. To me, that's the only flaw right now, I think, in the playoffs right now, is how they do the automatic qualifiers. I don't think you should have an automatic. I think you should just, regardless if you win your conference or not, just have the top 12 teams get in.
Strike the schedule. Yeah, real simple stuff.
Absolutely.
Like you just said, the playoffs were created and built so we can see, like you said, the 12 best teams. To me, when you're talking about the 12 best teams, any matchup is going to be in single digits.
Yeah.
And from, on a gambling side, Vegas had, 21 points.
21 points, I think. Well,
underdog was James Madison.
Yeah, in
21 points. I don't want to watch that game.
Me neither. The final score, I believe the final score was like 51-34, but in all honesty, that game at one point was like 35-7,
and that's when they brought in the sec backups, and their backups were scoring, and they're defensively, well, they let some things go.
It's not the system's a little flawed when you have one of the teams that are in the playoffs bringing in their second string and they're resting their starters. Like, that's not supposed to happen.
No.
And you look at just a comparison. Alabama went to Oklahoma this weekend and they had to play their butts off, and what a game that was. Down 17-0 Alabama was. They went on a 34-7 run to end up winning the game. What was the final? 34-24. I'll tell you what, right now I know Alabama is the underdog, and I know that I believe it's the Rose Bowl that they play on January 1st against Indiana, and I know Indiana has a great defense, but folks, I'll tell you what, I would not be surprised if Alabama beats Indiana. As a matter of fact, that's kind of like my favorite in that game, and I know Vegas, I think the spread opened at 6.5 Indiana, but
yeah, you know what, and I agree to the SEC. When you're talking SEC versus Big Ten, traditionally and over the past, we all know the SEC is the monster, is the 500-pound gorilla. We know that.
Yeah.
But I truly believe Cignetti, what he's done with Indiana, not only on the defensive side of the football, but Mendoza's the real deal.
Mendoza is the real deal, and last year they go 11-1. They kind of snuck into the playoffs. Everyone was like, well, "Who's this Indiana team that's in there?"
Yeah.
And they go on, and I know they lost to Notre Dame in the first round, but nobody was really talking about them in the beginning of the year, and all they did quietly was go 12-0 in the regular season, beat Oregon in Oregon. Yeah. And then beat Ohio State, Indianapolis for the Big Ten title. So I mean, their resume is very impressive. I just got a feeling.
I get it. It's that SEC thing. To me, it's the SEC thing. The game is a lot. The Big Ten is a power football conference. It's blue collar. It's run the ball, then throw the ball. It's beat you up, bruise you up, in the trenches kind of football. The SEC is fast, flying around football. It's a game of speed, and we all know. 3 minutes. Okay, we all know that the speed kills, and so again, and you go and you look at the Miami game. They said when the teams are coming off the bus, they said when they see Miami come off the bus, it almost looks like an NFL team.
Yeah,
and they played like it. They played they're scary. They're a scary team.
Yes, they are. I'll tell you what, Miami going into that game, especially I
thought A&M was going to roll.
I did too, especially in State College in front of 100,000 plus. I was thinking to myself, there's no way. There's no way the Hurricanes are coming in here and upsetting A&M. And wow.
It was 3-3 at half.
3-3 at half, 3-3, and then when Miami turned the ball over at midfield with about 7 minutes left in the game, tied at 3-3, I said, "That's it. This game's over." But I'll tell you what, Miami's defense looked incredible.
Oh, they did.
And I'll tell you,
all three levels,
and then that's going to be a very interesting game. You got Miami playing Ohio State. That's a game I'm actually looking forward to.
Well, these are the games now. Like we got James Madison and Tulane. We got that out of the way.
Got them out the way.
Yeah. So now we've got what we're looking for. Now we've got matchups. Miami, Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana,
Ole Miss, in Georgia. That's actually a rematch of the regular season.
I think Georgia beats them.
I do too.
I think there's too much without Lane Kiffin. I think there's too much noise. I think they came out, they played a patsy. They went out, they did what they're supposed to do. But this week is going to be a wake up call.
I think so too. I think playing Tulane, going from the level of competition from Tulane to Georgia, it's going to be a night and day difference.
Absolutely.
But back to your point, these games right here, and all. This is what we want to see in the first round. These are still supposed to be. This is what we should have had in the first round. If we would have had Notre Dame go to Ole Miss, and we would have had BYU go to Oregon. That would have been phenomenal.
Right.
I would have rather seen that. So it's my opinion. I think they just need to tweak it a little bit. I know how they tweaked it from having an automatic qualifier from giving a first round bye. So they did away with that this year, but they still need to tweak it a little bit because in the final poll, I think James Madison and Tulane was ranked, I think 19 and James Madison was 25. Good season, but are they really playoff?
When I see 21-point odds, it's like, okay, we know that this is not going to be the game we're looking for. But
absolutely,
we got that out. We got it out of the system. Now we got some good college football and some good NFL. It's going to be a great couple of weeks of football.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah. So That's the end of this show. Hopefully, you guys tune in with us on Thursday. Will be the next show, and we'll be able to talk about what happened this last week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.